There's an old saying that goes, variety is the spice of life. While this is mostly true, it's not always the case. People can like sequels and remakes just as much as the originals, sometimes even more. I like Sonic the Hedgehog 1 for the Genesis, but I love Sonic 2 and, to a very slightly lower extent, Sonic 3 and Knuckles a whole lot more, if my Let's Play of the former hasn't already convinced you. The reason? While generally being the same concept-wise, each one after the first brought something new to the table. Sonic 2 brought in Super Sonic, Sonic 3 and Knuckles introduced us to an expanded Tails, and yet another new character, Knuckles the Echidna, as well as many other bonus gameplay quirks. This doesn't mean the originals can't switch things up as they go along, though. While Sonic 1 may have pacing issues, you can't deny that Marble Zone, while drastically different from Green Hill Zone, was unique in its own way. This concept does not apply much to the U-Technics developed Big Mother Truckers, a game with little to no variety in the gameplay department, rather bleak visuals, a pleasant yet repetitive soundtrack, and sluggish control. There are bits of charm here and there, but for the most part, it ain't smooth sailing for these four truckers trying to raise money for their mother. First, let's get a bit of background. U-Technics began life in the late 80s as Zeppelin Games, whose founder used to make games for platforms such as the Atari and Commodore 64. They went through another brief phase in 1994 as Merit Studios Europe, and finally settled on the U-Technics name in 1996. They're known for making a lot of racing games, most notably the free-to-play Auto Club Revolution. I don't know about you guys, but I've never heard of that game, and I have no opinion as to if it's good or not. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Back on topic, Big Mother Truckers isn't a racing game in the traditional sense, but it is a driving game, and it does incorporate some racing elements later on. The plot is short and simple. Mama, no other name given, is getting old, and she needs one of her kids to inherit her business. She sends them out to buy and sell goods, and make money through doing so. After 60 days, the one with the most cash gets ownership of the entire business. She also doesn't give one quote-unquote rackles tackles how you get it either. The winner of this quote-unquote contest, as far as I know, is not known, and it's likely that the sequel also doesn't give a name. In other words, whoever you win with, that probably isn't canon. So yeah. So, the gameplay. You drive to technically 6 different locations throughout the county. These locations are Mama's House, Smokestack Heights, Greenback, Salty City, Skeeters Creek, and Capital City. With the obvious exception of Mama's House, or BMT Inc., the cities are parodies of real-life cities. Salty City making fun of San Francisco, complete with a gay bartender. Okay. Each location will have 4 to 5 different options. The shop is where you can buy or sell goods. The garage is where you can refuel, repair, and upgrade your vehicle, as well as switching out your trailer for those goods that can't be hauled in your current one. If you're at Mama's House, not all the options will be available for some reason. The bar has 3 options: gambling, bartenders, and loan sharks. The first one speaks for itself. Bartenders have small talk with your character, and afterwards, they will either inform your character of goods that are in demand in another city, or will occasionally have a mission for you to do. Loan sharks give you a loan that you are required to pay back in a specific amount of days. Otherwise, the loan keeps growing until they eventually take your vehicle and it's game over. But what about the driving? This is where the game gets pretty monotonous. The driving in itself isn't bad, except in these situations. Number 1. Certain missions involving certain routes can get annoying. Number 2. Races, which very often pop up as an option at the beginning of a day, were very unfair from my experience. I remember one driver specifically taking a different route than the game-directed one I took. They took the faster route and got to their destination before I did, resulting in me losing 50 grand in-game money. Not like that matters when you have a game-breaking slot machine cop-out cheat which gets rid of any reason to visit loan sharks, but still. The control itself. Number 3, the control itself. Stopping is an arduous task, and parking challenges are a downright nightmare. Drive into any cones or roadblocks, and your cash bonus is decreased even further from the time limit that already exists. These aren't even mandatory, but it still pisses me off that they are that strict in their immediacy. You're better not even trying for them. Number 4, it gets really bad when you realize you're doing the exact same fucking thing for 60 in-game days. One in-game day, depending on the route you choose and how good you are at the driving, can take as much as 25 minutes. Multiply that by 60, and you have 25 hours at the very least of gameplay time. That's a whole day in real life! And it gets on your nerves when you finally realize, 10 days in, like I did, 10 in-game days, that this game is wasting your time. Really mundane driving, complete with either cakewalk runs if you had the slot machine cheap, or ridiculously hard cash amounts from the other kids to keep up with if you're playing it legitimately, resulting in you actually having to go to the loan sharks like I did 4 or 5 years ago back when I thought I liked this game, is just no good reason to play this game at all. Play something that is worth your time. Grand Theft Auto 5 is a better driving game than this. At least the driving in that game is controllable. You can choose to have no radio on if you want, instead of hearing the same damn repetitive ads, songs, and talk shows over and over again. The story is substantial, and the characters have personality and charm, unlike these bland stereotypes, and the game is fun and diverse. You don't have to have varied gameplay to make a game fun. Hell, most arcade games like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Galaga are still played today, even though they don't vary it up too much. But they vary it enough to still be interesting. Unlike this boring multi-platform trite that no one will ever dare to finish in one sitting. I rest my case.